everything feels so abstract. Yeah, it's complicated. What you say, the way you act, well, it makes me so confused. I don't know what to do anymore. Can't you just make up your mind? My heart drops when you play around. How can you be up when I'm down? Don't wanna think about it right now. Maybe you just wanna be friends, but there is a fight when we are talking. Maybe you just wanna pretend, but I can read between the lines. Even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting, still wanna be with you. I think you want it too, 'cause baby I don't wanna be.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Tantalea, and I am Craft with Tea. And I'm so excited to be a part of the summit. This is my first time, and I can't wait to spend this morning with you guys. I'm going to be sharing with you the cards that I created for the summit. So I have this version, and then we kicked it up a slight notch by adding a little bit of embossing around the corners, or the edges, I should say. And let me see. So I'll put them both next to each other. Ooh. So these are the cards that I did for the class. So we'll be talking about that today. Okay. Kelly, what is your favorite tool to use? I have so many. But right now I'm trying to look around. Don't we always look around because this is what we have, right? Probably my embossing tool, because I love using, it's just a regular old, I think I got this at AC Moore before they closed. And then I also have the Tim Holtz, the one from Ranger. I think it is not Tim Holtz, but the Ranger tool. This one I like when I don't want to heat it up fast because it's a widespread heat. Whereas this one is more pointed. Does that make sense? Yeah. So this one gets hot super fast. Not as fast as like the fancier, I forget what they're called. They're like all black. You've seen some of the people using those. Those I think get hotter faster. This is like just a little crafty tool. But that's the one. When it comes to heat embossing, that's what I love the most. Have you ever used clear embossing over the watercolored portion? Christine, I haven't. You can. You would just have to, I would definitely use your stamp platform so you can re-stamp the image. And then that way you can get it more precise, so that way you could do that. A lot of times what's stamping on the stamp is the outline. That's what I'm using, right? So it's not really a solid stamp. So to get the embossing ink over top of the watercolor might be a little tricky. You probably have to practice. And then Cynthia said, I see you use Versa. I find that it's often out of stock. Have you ever used other brands besides Versa for the embossing? Yes, but it's not for my clear ink, it's always been the Versa mark. I think Ranger has an embossing ink that you can use. So if you can get, I know they're usually more in stock at places, but it works exactly the same. I think I have like the small cubes, and I've used that before. One of the things that I like to use for embossing is like, it's not going to be clear, but I use VersaClear. Anything that's like a, what do they call it? A pigment ink, because it stays wet longer. You can use it to stamp and then put your embossing powder over top of it. Because the embossing powder is opaque, you're not going to see what color you use underneath. So as long as you're not using the embossing glazes, I know someone else had talked about these, but the embossing glazes that they just started making, you can see through those. So you just be careful with that. Can you use any cardstock to use the watercolor technique? Miss Barbara, yes and no. There's always two answers, right? So Technically, yes. The thing with the watercolor technique is how wet the paper is getting, right? So if you're using the markers, like the marker types that like I was using, you can just put the color straight down, right? So you don't have to add a lot of water to it because it's already in the tube that the pen that you're using. If you're using a watercolor palette and you're putting it to the paper, you just have to be careful because the lighter weights will they sort of like bubble up. Sorry, if you guys see any movement behind me, I have cats and they're wandering. Just a quick shout out to the cats. So yes, if you can use whatever paper you have, I would just be careful, maybe do a couple of tests, just to make sure your paper isn't gonna like bubble up. It sort of makes like fuzzies. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but it can be a lot with that. Suzette, question: what inspires you when it comes to using colors? Really, it's the rainbow, right? Even though there are muted colors that are great, I'm very seasonal when it comes to my color choices. So if it's wintertime and I'm feeling kind of like not gloomy, but gloomy. You know how you get the winter blues, they call it. Sometimes I want to go as bright as possible with the colors I'm using because they generate energy. They feel exciting. So sometimes it's based off just my emotions of what I'm feeling at the time. Um, but it can be fun. Let's see. Cynthia, do you have videos on your using inks and sprays? I do. I have a YouTube channel, and it's kind of got a wide range of styles of videos on it. I've been venturing off into doing more scrapbook pages because I've never done this before. When I started, I went in full force with card making. So I have a Friday sketch series that has over 300 videos where I use sketches that I find from on Pinterest and I create different cards with that. And I've been doing that series now for quite a few years, but I've noticed that I don't know if it happens for you guys, but you get into like a funk. And so you're trying to like get some excitement back into what we're doing, right? Because you feel like you're in a lull. And so I've started, like I said, venturing into scrapbooking more, and I'm having fun with that. And I want to get back into doing my technique videos. Oh, I forgot about that. I do have a series, playlist for Technique Tuesdays, I used to call it. So I'm thinking about starting that back up again, where I can just play, because sometimes you just want to play and have fun, and not necessarily have a project that you want to work on, but you just want to play with a new product that's coming out. So that's what I like to do with that. Okay, Victoria, how long do the markers last? Are they refillable? Those particular markers I used, I think were from Altenew. I don't believe they are refillable, but they last a long time because I don't use them all the time. I think that's one of the things with especially any type of media stuff, like our paper, once you cut it up and use it, you're done. But with the different inks and stuff that you use, unless you're doing watercolor every single day, I doubt you'll run through it all. Because there's going to be days you want to watercolor, there's going to be days where you want to use distress inks, there's going to be times when you want to do none of that. So okay, Christine, what other crafts do you do? Well, I do the like I said, scrapbooking. I don't do journaling. I've always wanted to, but um I don't know. Sometimes it intimidates. And whenever something is intimidating, it's very hard to step out on that ledge and try it, let alone record it for other people to view. So I tend to stick to either card making or scrapbook layouts. So that's pretty much what I do. Susan, can you tell us again your tip about why you shouldn't use alcohol markers with embossing powders? Yes. Alcohol markers, um, you mess up the tip of the marker when you're rubbing it on the embossing, right? So this part that kind of it, if you're not used to doing embossing, it has a little bit of a ridge, right? There's a little bit of a raised portion. So when you go in with your marker, it hits that product and it can dry up the marker nib very quickly. So if you have markers that you really don't care about and you want to use them and emboss, go for it. Sometimes you may notice it doesn't really affect it at all, but I've seen it where I'm using a particular color and it dries it out. It dries it out quick. So if you don't have refills, it's going to be hard, or if you don't have a nib that you can change, it messes it up. So my suggestion, if you want to use markers, ink it with regular ink, do your coloring, then emboss it with your ink, with the embossing ink, stamp it again, and then heat emboss. So your coloring is already done, then heat emboss it. Make sense? Because that will keep your markers healthy and you'll still get the same results. Oh, this butterfly is actually from the Ton. I don't know if you guys heard of them. They have such beautiful stamps, flowers, butterflies, things like that. But this is their stamp. It's one whole stamp, and I love it. When I just want a quick card, I'll stamp this, heat emboss it, and put a title on it. And I think it's stunning. It's a stunning card. I do that a lot, actually. Oh, Christine, how long have I been crafting? I've been crafting since 2007. I started out with church because they had a crafting group, and I went there with my mom at the time. She passed away, but she was a crocheter, which is the yarn back there. I haven't got rid of it yet. But so she's taught me some things, but I just don't like crochet like she did. So I will be donating that. But we started there, and we started with little they call them trading cards or something like that. And then it grew, and I got onto a video on YouTube by some miracle. I think it was Gina K, and I never looked back. I was like, what? Like stamps? What are these? Give me some. Like I wanted all the things, and I haven't stopped. I love it so much. Hey, Tiffany. Thank you so much with your help with this. Like I was saying, this is my first summit, and Tiffany was such a help for me. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Oh, I wanted to show you guys some other things too. I know we're talking about obviously the summit and this, but I wanted to show you a couple examples because I think the embossing and adding just a little title or a large title really have a lot of bang for your buck. You know, you can do, I think this I did with watercolors. I just created a background and then I heat embossed it with a flower stamp and with a thank you. And then this one I did for Halloween. I embossed the web and then added doodle pops or doodle, like what's that company called? God, I can't think of it right now. Oh, but here. And I did this one. So I think that embossing, I think that is probably my most favorite technique because you get so much bang for very, not little effort, but it's because you got to heat it up and make sure you don't, over stamp, and then you have dust on other areas. But I love it. Oh, what was the name of the company for the butterfly? The company for the butterfly is The Ton. So it's THETON, The Ton. And that a senior living center may be able to use the yarn. Oh, okay. I never thought of that. There's there's people, I don't know, I've never seen them, but they do a lot of the crocheting of hats and like lap blankets for the cancer patients. So I was gonna I have to take my dad to get regular treatment. So I'm gonna try and donate to them because I was like, that is such a wonderful thing that they're doing. And I figured they probably could use the yarn. So I'll check both places because I have a senior living not that far from me actually. Kelly, what made you emboss the edges of the card? Brilliant. Oh, yes. Like, okay. So I've seen that technique before. I want to say if you guys have ever watched like Christina Warner, who's the other one I follow? Prairie Ink. Oh, I can't think of the full name, but these are the card people that I've been watching for years. Jennifer McGuire. I want to say I've seen one of them do it before, so it's definitely not something I came up with on my own. But what I liked about it is sometimes, even though this is a nice version of the card and it's still beautiful, sometimes you want to do something a little bit more. And there's nothing better than just as simple as it is, just that little bit of embossing around the edges gives you that definition between the card that you created and the actual base, right? Because a lot of times how we do that is by the layers. So when you have your trying to see, I have actually my card container here, but even on this one that I did, you see the black line is cardstock, right? Well, if I wanted to, I could have just outlined the card itself and did the embossing again, and it just would have had a little edge of gold, which would have separated it from the card base. So it's a good thing to try. Tiffany, is there a technique that you want to try but haven't? Yes, but does it count that I've tried it once? But I want to get into it more. I have gel plates. I've dived into gel plating, and I even went and got some new rollers. Like, I'm ready. Okay, I am ready for gel plating. So I want to kind of dive into creating my own backgrounds that you can cut up for cards, you can cut up or make and use for your scrapbook pages. There's something about that creativity that I find very interesting, and being able to use basically all of your products, right? Your stencils, your inks, sprays, I mean, alcohol, inks, like it's the gambit of what you can use in your craft room on one product. I think it's a technique that I really want to get into. Oh, Tiffany, again, do you have tutorials or a blog post about those other cards you shared? Hmm. Now these I may have on my if not my Technique Tuesday videos, I might have done it for I think it would be more for my Technique because this isn't a sketch. So I would have showed like using the embossing powder, the giving my information on tricks that I use, making sure that you powder your paper first really well. Don't be stingy with it because you really don't want it to stick anywhere that you're not, wanting your embossing powder to go. But these I made sitting at my desk because I wanted to create something with this. It's like a shaker piece. You see it? And I just got the stamp that had a web, so I wanted to use it. Where can we watch your videos? Tina, I actually have a YouTube channel that is Craft with Tea. And I have been doing the YouTube since 2015, I think it is. Yeah. So I'm still a baby. I got 2,000 subscribers. Woo, woo. So I'm excited about that. But unfortunately, I'm not good at posting on other places. So Instagram, I do have an Instagram that's Craft with Tea, but you're going to just see posts here and there. I'm not going to lie. I tend to forget about Instagram. And then I also have a page on Facebook. So when I do lives, I use StreamYard, which is what the program we're using. And I record to both. Oh, it's time to wrap it up. Oh my God. It went so quick. I was so worried. All right, you guys. So I hope you're enjoying the summit. If you have any questions about what I used or, problems that you've come across with embossing, please leave them for me. I would love to answer them. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys. And I hope you have a great Sunday. Thanks. Oh, I'll use this one. Bye, guys.